3 years ago, I set out to construct the most powerful nootropic stack for focus, motivation, and sheer cognitive horsepower. I logged hundreds of hours, sampled endless amounts of cognitive performance chemicals, and ran beta tests with soldiers from the United States Army. And after massive experimentation and ruthless trial and error, my work had finally paid off. I found what I was looking for.
You know, the brain can only output so much, right? There's a limit on the brain's output given your current protocol, your current sleep protocol, your current dietary protocol, and perhaps your current coffee protocol. And it's my belief that there comes a point at which, if you're not taking nootropics, that both due to neurodegeneration, the degeneration of neurological processes that takes place routinely over the process of aging, as well as not having available neurotransmitters to engage in neurotransmission or the right neurochemistry at the time to engage in excitatory neurotransmission, the type of neurotransmission that might activate the sympathetic nervous system and get you alert and functional and focused and ready to work in order to achieve that outcome. Nootropics are a way of modulating that outcome. And for us, the logic in creating Cortex, the commercial nootropic stack now sells in 8 countries, is used by a myriad of different people, from regular nootropic experimenters to business professionals to everybody in between, was really to create such a multifactorial nootropic stack that works on facilitating the neurotransmission to enliven the brain again when it runs out of fuel, when it runs out of the capacity to facilitate neurotransmission, to get you to focus, to get you to have verbal fluency, to get you to have working memory, to get you to have endurance, to get you to have mental energy. We created a stack that was not only stimulatory, but functional in all these ways. I mean, our customers tell us that this is the best pre-made stack they've ever tried. That's just hands down. I mean, that's the continuous message from our customers. So look, if you've been waiting to buy a bottle of Cortex, don't wait. Go to livecortex.com right now. Secure a bottle of what's being called the only pre-made stack that actually works. We tried to mimic modafinil with the stack, just to give you an idea of how powerful it is, how people respond to it. And our customers, their words, not ours, because we technically can't say this, explain it exactly that way. Very powerful, very stimulatory, very functional. livecortex.com. Okay, so talking about functional and stimulatory, we're now into the realm of talking about real surgical nootropic stacks. We talked about a lot of generalities and these sorts of things, and I try to be as specific as possible throughout all these videos, but now in writing the Smarter, Better, Faster book, the nootropics book that's coming up on the 30th of June, and trust me, we'll promote the hell out of it and let you guys know exactly when it's coming out so you can get a copy. But in that book, we get real granular, real surgical, very specific stacks. I mean, there's innumerable amounts of very specific stacks. You can go there, reference it, get a stack, take it. There's just stacks everywhere throughout the book. It's insane. One of the stacks that is in the book, and one of the stacks that I've relied on for probably about the last year. I've done it intermittently, and lately I've been doing it more because I've really been into caffeine and theanine and modulating it. Pulse dosing, which you can Google pulse dosing with L-theanine and caffeine on livecortex.com and read that article or watch the video. I've come to understand that aniracetam, coffee, and theanine is an incredible nootropics combination. So we know that aniracetam is pretty cool. We know that it stimulates AMPA receptors, giving it a stimulatory effect. We know that it works on releasing acetylcholine from the hippocampus, providing you with more working memory. And for a lot of people, anecdotally, it gives them more creativity. Adding coffee to aniracetam provides a much more stimulatory effect, right? It stimulates the brain more, because now you've got the aniracetam working on AMPA receptors, making you stimulated, but then you've got caffeine binding to adenosine receptors, preventing tiredness. So you've got a double on stimulation. But then if you add theanine into the mix, particularly for people who are just overstimulated by stimulatory nootropics or too much caffeine, it adds that nice calm, just like it does with caffeine. The caffeine-theanine stack, theanine being the balancer, caffeine being the stimulator, to the aniracetam caffeine stack. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I did it yesterday, and I was just like rocking. I hadn't talked to the people. I was working at a co-working office. I didn't talk to them for like 3-4 hours. They're like, "Dude, Ryan, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just took a killer nootropic stack, and I've been wired in for 4 hours. Thank you very much, Lee." And I got a whole lot done. So try it. I'd go with 700 or so milligrams aniracetam. I'd really go pretty high on the caffeine because you're going to be on the theanine too. So I would go with 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine, but space that out. You probably want to do 150 right away. That'll be a giant cup of coffee or iced coffee. And then perhaps a couple hours later, another giant cup of iced coffee, pretty big cup, 150 milligrams of caffeine, totaling 300. I would start on the theanine with 500 milligrams. And then even later throughout the day, kind of in this idea of pulse dosing, maybe dose another 500 milligrams of L-theanine. That to me, 1,000 total of theanine, 300 total of caffeine, and 700 total of aniracetam has been the best strategy for dosing with aniracetam, coffee, and theanine. You might call that smart aniracetam, the smart aniracetam stack, and trying to take the moniker from smart caffeine, inheriting the moniker from smart caffeine. I would dose with the aniracetam right away, first thing in the morning or whenever you're going to go and work. I would dose with the 150 milligrams right away, also drinking coffee or taking, if you're going to do powder, do slightly less because it's more powerful, probably 110 milligrams. And I would dose with the first 500 milligrams of theanine right away too. I would later on in the afternoon, 2-3 hours later or something, then take your additional 150 milligrams of caffeine. And then either then or slightly thereafter, if you might feel a little stimulated, but probably then to keep it simple, take your second dose of 500 milligrams of L-theanine. And just watch. You might have to titrate the quantities just a little bit and maybe fuss with the dose times a little bit, but generally that protocol is pretty powerful. Like I said, people were around me like, yeah, dude, Ryan, did you disappear? And I'm like, no, man, I'm locked in. Awesome nootropic stack. Try it out. Thanks for watching.